Hi, this week we're going to take a look at a couple of different, what I'm going to call alternate products, or different ways to represent information, things that might be of an interest to students because they're a little different, and also valuable just in that it gives them a variety of ways to organize and present information. So let's get started. If we go into the class, you can see the assignment's been posted. As usual, all you really need to do is to click the link for the attachment and it will give you all the directions. You're watching the introductory video now, and then there'll be 3 separate videos. You can see the 2 are now posted, but the 3rd will be posted here. And it's for 3 products that we're going to take a look at. And it's just a tutorial on how to get started with those products. All 3 are free. Now, the 3 fall into 3 categories. The first is storyboarding. And that's basically kind of laying out, almost in a cartoonish fashion, a story to organize it. It's used before people do film, but it can also be a good way to for students to, explain their information or just operate in a creative environment. The second is a timeline. We should all be familiar with that basic concept. And then the third is a word cloud. And in a word cloud, words that are repeated more often in a particular text appear larger. So we'll look at a nice tool for making word clouds because that can raise some interesting questions and give some good information about a particular piece of text. The additional site resources that are listed down here, these are just some of them are to the products that we're going to look at. This storyboardthat.com. TimelineNightLab.com is the timeline we're going to be using, and WordClouds.com is the word cloud tool. But there are also some additional timeline tools and some additional word cloud tools that you can take a look at if you'd like. The storyboarding, you'll find that most of the storyboarding software that's out there is not free. It's a for-charge monthly kind of subscription thing. So I've limited the links to storyboard software here to storyboardthat.com. And while it does have a pro version where you get a lot more graphics and different options that you can use, there is enough in the free version to make it useful. So let's just take a look for a second at the assignments. The assignment is listed below. Now in this case, you're going to pick one of those alternate products. You're not going to have to do all 3. It would be nice if you take a look at the 3 different things if you're not familiar with them, and then make a choice as to one product you'd like to create. Should be something useful to your students or a model of something your students might do. And in this case, the first 6 points in the rubric, in the assessment guidelines, apply to any product. Okay, so it's got to be posted by a due date. It supports learning of a particular educational concept. This would apply to any of the 3. Now, after that, these last 4 apply only to the storyboard. So these would apply only if you chose to use the storyboard format for your product. These 4 would apply to the timeline if you chose to do that. And if you're going to use a word cloud, there's 3 additional requirements, and you can see that I've just adjusted the points on those so that in all cases they add to 100 points. Okay, before we go on, all of whatever product you choose will eventually be assembled in this alternate product website that we're going to put together, and we'll look at that when we meet in class. It's a very simple Google page. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to link not only to the alternate products, but probably easier thing to do is to put up all your work from the class, and then we'll link across from your portfolio to that. Let's take a look at what a storyboard is. So here we are on Storyboard That. And you can see here that that it's almost like a cartoon. Okay, where you add images and backgrounds, and then you tell a story here. Now the story could be told at the bottom, as we're seeing here, or it could be told through the characters, through voice bubbles or thought bubbles, etc. Okay, so there's an example of one. It's it's a pretty simple tool, but it's fun to use, and I think students will enjoy it. Now, if we go on to timelines, this particular timeline tool the one that we're going to use. They've got some samples here, so let's take a look at, we'll take a look at Whitney Houston for a second. And you can basically just see that it supports different types of media. Here's a picture, a title over on the left, and you can put the dates, or you could actually see that the date is marked on the timeline below. So the information is up at top, and the date is actually marked on the timeline below. And when someone wants to advance through the timeline, they just simply click this button. In this case, you've got more images, you've got text, you've got titles. You can embed a video, so there's a variety of different formats of media that you can embed here. Not everything, you can't put a website in there, but you can put in a Google map, you can put in a YouTube video, you can put in images, and these can either be housed in your Google Drive or directly on YouTube or directly from the internet. And you can see down here that this one, gets rather expansive. You can have multiple entries for the same time, and then you can have all sorts of entries down here. And if you just use the arrow, you'll just page through them all. Okay, so your timeline doesn't have to be quite as involved, quite as many entries as this, but you get the idea. The last is the word cloud. This tool is nice because it gives you some great options about how to format it, but you can see, and this is kind of filler Latin that's in here right now, but when you look at a word cloud, one thing I could do is I could change the shape using the shape tool here. And you can see that the words that appear most often are larger than the other words. So the tutorial is going to show you how to make some of these settings, but basically you're going to look for an interesting piece of text. You're going to put that text into the word cloud maker, and then you're going to see what that tells you about that text. It does have a word list here, so you can see it's telling you how many times each of these things exists in the text. But the other tutorial will explain it in much more detail, how to use the tool, etc. Okay, so that's the assignment. If you have any questions, of course, send me an email. And I look forward to seeing your products.